Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video we are going to talk about relativize. So how can we, for example, find, let's say that we have path 1 and path 2. And how can I get from path 1 to path 2? So given two paths, how do you go from one to another? And this is what the relativize will do for us. As you know, a new class, new video, a new class. Relativize test 01, create the public static void main, and let's start with two paths following the same pattern as the previous video. So we have paths.get, and let's say that we have /home/William. So this is an absolute path that we are going to call dir. And let's say that we have here, for example, a path to a class. Let's say that we have for the previous class. Let me copy this path here, and I will copy from the, well, it will get too big. So let's say that we have inside home, and let's say that we have DevDojo, and let's say that we have project, and let's say that we have test01.java. Cool. So how do I get from path 1 to, for example, path 1, in this case the directory, to the class? So given this path and this path, how, for example, I go from this one here? So how do I get this test01.java? And this is what the relativize will do to us. So for example, dir directory.relativize class. So from my directory, and if I'm relativizing, how do I get to the class that I have here? So what's the path to class? So basically, if you are on that directory, the path to class is Ctrl+Shift+F10. You have to go to DevDojo project test01. So basically, given two paths, from the standpoint that you are in the path 1, the path that's on the left side, the path that you are calling the method, how do you get to the path where you are passing as argument? Now, pretty straightforward, but let's see how it works with more examples. Let's say that we have the same path here. Let's give some examples like the previous video. We have this path, and we are going to call this absolute 1. Let's duplicate this several times, and we have absolute 2, absolute 3, and this one will be relative 1, and this one will be relative 2. So absolute 1 is like this. Absolute 2 will be, for example, /user/local. And then the 3, let's say that's the same as this one. And the relative 1, let's say it's just a temp folder. And the relative 2 is like a temp folder, but we have like a file. So how it works? First, what happens if we call absolute 1 and we try to relativize with absolute 3? It's exactly the same as we did before. Basically, we'll get the same result. Now, what happens if we call absolute 3, that is this whole path, and we are trying to get to absolute 1? Basically, the other way. How do I get from here to here? Ctrl+Shift+F10, and basically we just have to go back 3 directories, and then we will be at the absolute 1 directory. So from directory absolute 3, basically this whole path, how do I get to this one? You just have to go back 3 directories, and then you will be 1, 2, 3 inside /home/William. Third example, let's say that we have absolute 1 and I'm trying to relativize with absolute 2. So basically they're completely different. Now Java will tell you go back 2 directories, 1, 2, Why? Because this is absolute. So basically it's starting from the root level of your operating system. So go back to the root level and then you go to the user local. So this we can, for example, use here. Let's say that we have slash, I'm already here. I want to go to slash user slash local. So I have to go back to my root level and then user local. As you can see, I am now inside user local. Now, if I go to my root level, this is the root level. More examples. For let's say that we have relative 1 and we are going to go to relative 2. Basically, we are inside the same folder. This is just going to return the file that we have inside the temp. And now things get interesting if we try to have the absolute, any absolute with a relative, for example, relative 1. So from my home, William, how do I get to temp? Now, if you can't answer, Java also cannot answer, and we have a runtime exception. And why is that? Because temp is relative. So it's like where I am right now. So right now I'm executing this program inside this Marathon Java. Oh, sorry, Java 1 for all. But if I execute this in another place, in another project, it could be completely different. So since Java doesn't know how to get to the temp folder, it gives you an exception. Okay, so that's everything that I wanted to tell you about relativizing. Let's continue with more NIO in the next video. Long journey, I know, but it's pretty worth it. So see you guys in the next video. Bye.